Supervisors meeting to order. Ask the clerk to call a roll, please.
Steve Carrianen. Here. Kay Wilson. Here. Tweed Schuman.
Here.
Stacy Hessel. Here. Randy Newman.
Here.
Mark Helwig.
Here.
Thomas Duffy. Here. Marshall Savitsky. Here. Jim Evans.
Here.
Chuck Van Etten.
Here.
Jeff Haney.
Here.
John Righeimer.
Here.
Ron Kinsley.
Here.
Ron Buckholz.
Present.
Dale Magnuson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic which stands indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 5, certification of compliance open meeting laws.
This meeting was noticed to the media and public as required by section 19.84 of Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 6 is the meeting agenda. It's set. Number 7, public comment. Anybody wishing to speak to the board, we ask them to stay at approximately 3 minutes, and we have Mr. Brian Dale.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to start off by thanking you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board for giving me this time to speak before you. I realize that some of you know me, but for some of you that don't, my name is Brian Dale. I would like to use this time to formally announce my intentions to run for Sawyer County Sheriff. To tell you a little bit about myself, I started my public service career 36 years ago when I joined the United States Marine Corps. As a Marine, I was a military police officer, squad leader, and criminal investigator, holding the rank of sergeant. I moved to the Hayward area in 1994 and shortly after met my wife, Kelly. We have been married for almost 30 years and we've been blessed to raise our 3 children here. Our children, Lane, Chesney, and Reese, all reside in the Hayward and Stone Lake area. Additionally, in the last 3 years, we've been blessed with 2 grandchildren. I started my law enforcement career in 1995 with the Hayward City Police Department as a patrol officer and was then hired with the Sawyer County Sheriff's Department in 2002. While employed with the Sawyer County Sheriff's Department, I've worked as a jail deputy for 2 years, a patrol deputy for 3 years, a patrol sergeant for 8 years, and a criminal investigator for 11 years. I've also been a field training officer for many years, a member of the Sawyer County Dive and Rescue Team for 10 years, and a member of the Sawyer County SWAT Team for 15 years. The last 3 years on the SWAT team, I held the position of SWAT Commander. I currently serve the Sawyer County Sheriff's Office as your Chief Deputy, supervising the Patrol Division, Investigation Division, Jail Division, Dispatch Division, and Reception personnel. I know with my leadership and experience, I will continue to guide the personnel of Sawyer County Sheriff's Office as your sheriff in a positive direction to provide services and protect the community. I again thank you for your time and allowing me to speak in front of the county board today. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak to the board? Is there anybody online? No. Number 8, consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, which was December 23rd.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
A motion by Mr. Righeimer, second by Mr. Evans to approve as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 9, zoning administrator report. Or chairman report. Mr. Buckles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee will hold its monthly public hearing tomorrow morning at 8:30. At the last meeting, the committee heard and approved 2 conditional use permits and tabled 1. The committee also continued to work on a new potential solar ordinance and the other zoning ordinance amendments. At tomorrow's meeting, the committee is expected to hear several different rezone cases and a couple of conditional use requests, along with requests for proposal for a comprehensive rewrite to send out to consultants. And if there is no other questions, I will turn it over to the Zoning and Conservation Administrator, Mr. Kozlowski. It's in my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Alex, can you bring up that summary PDF? Yeah. So on the attached tables here, you can see some of the permit history and the trends of the history in Sawyer County over the last 15 plus years. In 2025, again, was a record-setting year for permits issued. This would even go back to the early 2000s when we had our larger boom here. This again showcases how busy the zoning department has been. If you can keep going through that list. So there you can see the trends over the last decade and a half. And again, we are on an exponential curve up for permits issued. And then keep going to the last one there. The next summary aspect I want to go over is about enforcement. I've heard several times in the last few years that the zoning department doesn't do anything for enforcement. As part of the 2025 department goals, enforcement was listed as a top priority. The additional staff member that the zoning department received in 2025 has been instrumental in achieving the goal for additional enforcement. I had our zoning technician, Maya Weemus, prepare this document that you have up on the screen now. This is again showcasing that we issued 162 order for corrections. So our general process in the zoning department is not to, automatically go out and issue a citation unless it's an egregious violation. Generally, we'll send these order for correction letters to say, contact us, you need additional permits, contact us for additional questions we may have. So in 2025, 162 order for correction letters were sent out. We received a 75% compliance with those, and that those individuals did take out the necessary permits or did the necessary work to be compliant with the zoning ordinance. Some of those are still awaiting additional contact from those owners. Sometimes people move and don't leave a forwarding address. Some are very complex situations that take a little bit more time to resolve. Right now, we are in the winter months. Some of those complaints or those order for corrections are, removal of a camper. Well, someone might not be able to remove a camper right now. It might be iced in, might be snowed in. So we give them a, generally like a May 1 or an April 1 order for correction deadline. So that's why you're seeing some of the working withs. In addition to that, we did issue 14 citations within the zoning department. And I assume that some of those working withs will also result in citations here in 2026. As part of the 2026 goals of enforcement, the department will be further using our new aerial flights that were conducted in 2025. My plan is to then use an AI overlay as part of a 2025 aerial and a 2020 aerial that will then showcase additional structures that were placed on a property. We then can view those structures with whether they have an issued permit or not an issued permit, which again is getting to the aspects of enforcement. Last month, I had done a drive-through as part of a Draper drive-through with the county administrator, and we did identify, several non-compliant structures. Now, most of these non-compliant structures are in the form of sheds or yard barns, and maybe individuals aren't aware that anything over 100 square feet in Sawyer County does require a land use permit from our office. But again, with this potential overlay of the 2025 and 2020 aerials, we would be catching all of those properties that may have placed illegal structures on the property and not just those that you can see from a roadway view. So with that, I guess that kind of ends my summary and report of 2025, and I would certainly help answer any questions that the County Board Supervisors may have at this time.
Jay, I had a question on the presence of visible inoperable motor vehicles.
Mhm.
How many motor vehicles can you have on a property that are unlicensed?
None.
None.
So an inoperable or unlicensed motor vehicle then is ultimately defined as a junkyard if it is not screened from all views of the property.
If you screen it.
Now, if
then
you
can
screen
have-
it, there is no max. So you could have 100 vehicles if they were contained in the middle of your property and no one else can see them from all views of your property. But there is no minimum. Technically, if you had one vehicle that was inoperable or unlicensed and it wasn't screened, it could be considered a junkyard for order for correction. Now, generally, if someone has a vehicle that they're working on, we'll give them some time to work on that. It's when you start getting 3, 4, 5, and then the neighbor calls us to say, hey, there's quite a bit of vehicles sitting out there.
Are you going to do any aerial for that?
We certainly can, and that would be more of a, view a bunch of different vehicles and then verify whether they were truly, unlicensed. Because if you had them licensed, registered with DOT, we wouldn't be able to enforce those removals.
If it is unlicensed, then what is required? Does it have to be removed?
Screened. No, just screened from all views of the property.
Or removed?
Or removed, right.
Anybody else have questions for you? Thank you for your time. Number 10, Public Works Committee, Mr. Helwig.
Good evening, everyone. Public Works, we had our meeting on December 10th. We didn't have any public comments. Maintenance, Mr. Schmidt provided a written report on this December county maintenance projects. Surrey County Airport report, a written report was provided. Mr. Leslie updated the committee on the busy December and that the airport will have an update on the master plan at the February meeting. Highway Department, Commissioner Pennell briefed the committee on the recent winter storm. Sawyer had 10 inches of snow on top of freezing rain. Sawyer is the only one of 72 counties without a brine maker, also impacting the cleanup for equipment breakdowns and short staffing over the holidays. Mr. Pennell is inviting experienced plow drivers to a training roundtable, and discussions are underway to obtain a brine maker and building to house it. Trucks would have to be replaced, which puts achieving this goal out in the future as much as 5 years. Motion to approve a driveway entrance on County B contingent upon review by zoning to be brought back to the February Public Works meeting was motion carried without negative vote, excuse me. The ad hoc committee, Mr. Kinsley reported that TGB has given him 3 names for the committee to meet with the county. He may have more information on that at this time. We had no board appointed committee updates or correspondence reports. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Number 11, Public Safety Report, Mr. Buckles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee meeting met on January 2nd. Sheriff Department report, patrol report, Sheriff Morotech introduced Detective Brian Dale, who will become the chief deputy when Chief Sedera retires on January 10th. The written report was reviewed. Call volume was decreased to 530 calls received in December. There were 11 crashes in December 4th with personal injury, 0 fatalities. The sheriff updated the committee on the recent homicide. Colin Radisson stated that the good work was done by this department and the dispatchers with the suspect in custody. Jail report was written, and Lieutenant Waller, there was 59 average inmates incarcerated with 72% employment rate at the time of booking. Dispatch and emergency management was provided. Berkey planning meetings, 911 joint powers agreement, 2 communication grants, ongoing projects, CAD calls increased compared to December 2025 with 1,156 calls received as of December 23rd, 2025. Year-to-date calls received was 17,276 calls. Code enforcement, Chazan presented a detailed report with the information on how the calls are processed and handled from beginning to end. Dogs at large, barking, abuse/neglect, vicious/aggressive. Dogs have specific procedures, and the kennel attendant works 8 to 11, 5 days a week at the dog pound. Child support was a report was given to the committee. Emergency services, Mr. Fremmel provided a written ambulance report. The department's transition to the first Department of New Patient Care reporting platform in December. The 2025 annual medical examiner's report shows 43 deaths in 2025. 4 are overdose deaths, with 2 more possible pending toxicology. At the end, the committee thanked Chief Sedera for his long service to the county, and that ends my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. Number 12, Land, Water, and Forestry, Mr. Crayon.
Thank you, Chairman. minutes, or the Land, Water, and Forest Resources Committee met on January 7th, at which time we had a written report from Ms. Thompson, Register of Deeds Office. We also had written reports from the Land Records and County Surveyor Departments. We also had a resolution 26-1 for a supervisory district boundary amendment, and that was approved for action without negative vote and approved to be forwarded to the county board. Treasurer report from Mr. Lehner updated the committee on 7 in-rem foreclosure parcels that will be sold. Forestry Department, Mr. Peterson reported that 16 sales were active in December. There's approximately 4.7 million in sold and uncut timber on file. Gross timber sales for 2025 totaled $2.2 million. Mr. Peterson reported that snowmobile trails have been cleared and groomed by the Alliance and that carbon credits were submitted for sale. The 2026 Sawyer County Forest Annual Work Plan was approved for action by the committee on a motion by Mr. Newman and seconded by Mr. Evans, and it carried without negative vote. The Wisconsin DNR report, Mr. Fisher presented a written report that was submitted by Craig Morris. We had no report from the Forest Service. The motorized trail reports, Ms. Schroeder spoke for the Alliance and reported that their goal of opening trails by Christmas was met, and it was a very busy holiday season for snowmobiles in the county. There was no non-motorized report. Zoning and Conservation Department, Mr. Kozlowski reported on the DNR public meeting to discuss the water level on LCO. The public was in favor of a 6-inch increase in water level. Mr. Kozlowski is waiting to hear the official decision from Jacob Druffner of the DNR. The tree sale is ongoing. The poster and speaking contest is January 14th through the 16th, and staff is working on year-end grant reporting. That concludes my report.
Thank you. You want to cover this?
And I guess we've got an action item there.
Yes, we do.
Board.
Mr. Peterson,
Yep.
please.
Good evening. We have before you 2 action items. We have our annual partnership meeting minutes, which is a requirement for our 2026 annual work plan. The work plan is a requirement for an administrator grant that pays half of my salary and benefits through the state. I guess I'll just hit some high points here. So our work plan just outlines our schedule for the year without any major catastrophes, I should say, that we have to deal with. But for timber harvest, we usually we are targeting approximately 3,500 acres of timber sales to set up. With that, we do offer for sale approximately 40 sales, totaling approximately 50,000 cords and 1,500,000 board feet. And with that, we do have a change to our projected timber sale revenue for the first time in a few years. So we're projecting $2 million. We looked at some numbers for the last few years, and Mr. Markgren suggested we maybe bump that up a little bit, and I agreed with his numbers. So we're going out on a limb a little bit here, pardon the pun, but the numbers have shown that we can hit this number, and we've done it for about 5-6 years here. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully markets and weather conditions enable us to hit that. Other than that, we've just got our basic items. Our other big focus obviously is recreation. We are continuing to work with our Snowmobile ATV Alliance, Berkey Foundation, CAMBA, and we do have a Southwest Sawyer County hiking trail group that we work with as well. For motorized, we do have 6 rehabs on ATV trails scheduled for next year. 3 of them are under contract right now, and 3 we will be bidding out probably mid-spring. The other big item is the carbon credits. And we did get a little bit of feedback from a new last month. We can look forward to some sort of action in the first quarter of this year. So fingers crossed, hopefully something finally pans out with the carbon credit market. So there's any questions?
Good explanation. Mr. Buckles.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2026 SCF Annual Work Plan.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Buckles, second by Mr. Carrion to approve the 2026 SCF Annual Work Plan. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Letter C, Resolution 2026 for Supervisor Boundary Change. Mr. Markert.
This is coming forward from the city of Hayward. They annexed a piece of property into the city from the town of Hayward. It is the Monarch Gym. And what this did is create a voting district of 1, and nobody lives there. So they would have to do ballots for a district where no one can vote. So what this resolution does is brings it from the town of Hayward into the city of Hayward. Ms. Hessel loses a property, not a voter. The property, not a voter. So that's what this is. It would just move it into a voting district within the city. This passed through admin and land, water, and forestry already.
I make a motion to approve the zoning, the move.
I'll second. Motion by Mr. Urgenheimer, second by Mr. Newman to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Letter 13, Health and Human Services Report. Ms. Wilson.
The Health and Human Services Department met on January 6th. We had information from the Senior Resource Center. Mr. Savitsky reported that they approved the appointment of Ron Buckholz to the committee and is looking forward at fundraising for 2026. Ms. Lyons provided an organizational chart as part of the department's strategic plan. Discussion about reducing expenses by moving out of county placements to the transitions house. There was no report for aging and disabilities. We did decide in December that the meeting in January would be abbreviated because of the short period of time between the meeting and the holiday. And so there were some areas that didn't get a report. Let's see, behavioral health reported that there were 3 OWIs, 53 for the year. CTS has 75 children in their 4th and 5th grade after-school program, which meets once a week. Community support and mobile crisis need to move oversight of policies and procedures to within the county per state requirements. Mental health expense reports were provided. Ms. Lyons reported that the CPS staff attended training for Active Effort, a program to increase tribal involvement with Indian children placed into care. Youth Justice had 55 referrals in 2025 and 43 are active. Children in care, the expenses are going down due to efforts with diversion and other programs. Youth and diversion and truancy, Ms. Lyons reported that a student who had missed 89 days has had perfect attendance this school year. The economic support, the maintenance consortium written report was provided. HHS is monitoring federal cuts to childcare following the Minnesota daycare fraud. So far, there has not been any communication received that local childcare will be affected in Sawyer County. There was 1,051 food share cases with a total of $271,104 in benefits. There were 6,033 calls to the consortium with a 97% answer rate. Ms. McCollum provided a written report. Respiratory illnesses are trending upward in the state. The discussion of CDC reducing childhood vaccination recommendations and how that might affect local hospitals and populations. Flu and COVID is increasing locally, and they are still recommending vaccinations. Under physical, Ms. Lyons provided the HHS physical reports. HHS is over budget on elder abuse residential placements for 3 Chapter 55 placements that happened in late 2025. These were not budgeted for. A Chapter 55 is a long-term care and custody of individuals who are at risk of harm due to conditions that is likely to be permanent. The 2026 HHS fee schedule resolution was discussed, and we talked about a number of different items on that, and it will be presented shortly to the board. And we talked about the resolution and what it meant, and it went through our committee with no negative vote. And that is the end of my report, and I think we adjourned at 7:30.
Thank you. Letter B, Resolution 2026, adopt a change in the 2026 Health and Human Services fee schedule. Questions, concerns, Mr. Markram?
I'll turn that over to Ms. Lyons if she's online.
Yes, I am. Yes, so we have a change in our fee schedule for the agent program, along with updates to the water program. This did not come along with the normal budget because the changes that happened with DATCP, which is the Department of Agricultural Trade and Consumer Protection, happened in December. We knew that was potentially going to happen, and we needed to see how these changes occurred so we could know where we needed to go on the fees in order to cover our budgeted costs. So what you're seeing here is quite a bit of red in the lodging areas, which is where a lot of the changes had occurred. One of the big changes that you'll see is with the tourist rooming houses. We used to have 1 to 4. For the tourist rooming house, it could be up to 4. And that was if they were adjacent to one another. The state now has re-regulated and made some changes into what is a tourist rooming house. And as you can see, they're split up into areas. So 2 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 19. Now, granted, we don't have all of these high amounts of tourist rooming houses in those lots like that, but we are just wanting to make sure that our fee schedule matches what is available should somebody apply for something through the HM program. So you'll see those changes throughout here. Hotels, motels, campgrounds. We added the special event campground that did exist. We just hadn't had it on there before, but we know that those could pop up. Specialty lodging. This will be something that will be a work in progress as we move forward. But we wanted to make sure we had it on the fee schedule. Specialty lodging is thinking of like yurts and things like that. So that'll definitely be something that zoning would be very much involved in should somebody decide to go down that route. And then in the rest of it, made some changes to simplify the fee structure. There were duplications that could be eliminated. So we kind of work through some of those things. The increases in the fee schedule are put in place in order for us to be able to cover all of our budgeted expenses, which is mainly staffing. One of the other big expense is that comes out of the program is all of the fees up until you get to the additional fees. The state takes 13%. Next year, they'll take 14%. The following year, they'll take 15% of that structure. So we need to make sure that we have enough in our fees to be able to cover our costs. And then took this opportunity also to relook at the water testing fees, making sure that mainly what's happening is supplies and shipping is going up in cost. We want to just make sure that we're getting everything covered there. And then noted that the one of the other additions we added was bacteria and nitrate as a combination, because tourist rooming houses will now be required to have nitrate pulled as well. And then the other thing that we noted was the TN program structure. So that's the transient non-community water. It's like water testing that would be in places where somebody doesn't live long-term or stay long-term, like a campground or a gas station. So it's public water that we have a contract for with the DNR. So those are all of the prices and the fee structure. Hopefully we've got everything in there that we're going to need this coming year.
Thank you. Mr. Schuman.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this resolution amending fees for water testing, issuing permits, making inspections, and investigation of certain types of establishments. Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman, second by Mr. Savinsky to approve. Any discussion? Yes.
Can we wait to do the vote until Mr. Magnuson comes back from the restroom?
I'd like to commend Ms. Lyons and her team for their excellent work in a very short period from when they got notified of this to getting it forward to the HHS committee and the board. Great work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No.
One thing that we talked about at the meeting is what is a micro market? And a micro market is a stand that is not attended by anyone, where somebody sets out their cooler with eggs in it, and you could put your money in a container or bread or whatever. So that would be new to the county, and we're not real sure because zoning committee is going to be talking about home bakeries as well.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just want to reiterate what Ms. Lyons said, that by collecting these fees, we keep it budget neutral, meaning we won't have to go to the taxpayers for any more money. The fees will cover all the expenses.
Good. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, we're ready to vote. Anybody else have anything for discussion? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Number 14, Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on January 8th. Mr. Laner gave us a treasury report providing a written report on the tax collections of 2025 and the status of the INREM foreclosure proceedings. For the Finance Department, Ms. N reviewed monthly sales tax revenues, budget performance reports for December 25 and December CIP purchases. On the financial updates this month, what was discussed or was presented was the Administration Department. Ms. N reviewed the December 24, December 25 financials for the Admin Department. 2025 expenses came in at 82% of budget. Admin does not generate revenue. For the Ambulance Department, Ms. N reviewed the 24 financials and December 25 revenue and expenses for the Ambulance Department. 25 year-to-date revenues came in at 115% of budget, expenses at 109%. For the Finance Department, Ms. N reviewed the December 24, December 25 financials for the Finance Department, and for 2025, year-to-date expenses came in at 76%. And again, finance does not generate revenue. Human Resource Department, Ms. N reviewed the December 24 and 25 financials for the HR Department, and the year-to-date expenses came in at 88%, and HR does also not generate revenue. For the investments review and update, the November investment report was provided. Interest rates are dropping. Some county investments are still holding above 4%, which is good. 3 bids were received for the CD that to reinvest one that matured. Appersand, PMA, and Franson Bank were the bidders. Franson Bank locally here had the highest interest return, and that motion was approved to go with Franson. And that ends my report.
Thank you. We'll go to Economic Development Committee report, Mr. Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on January 5th. The library presented to us this month. Ms. Larson reported on the comparison statistics of the 25 versus previous years, with ebooks and patron counts increasing for the previous year. She reported on the library repairs completed in 25 and the needed repairs for the 26 year. The upcoming fundraisers were discussed along with their added program additions. Ms. Hessel asked if there was a fund balance available. Mr. Duffy asked regarding any available grants, and yours truly requested information on municipality contributions because that's still something that seems to be lagging. As you know, the county supports them. The city does with some accounting services, and I believe that is it. And so it'd be nice if some municipalities could contribute. Most of the participation into the library is coming from City of Hayward, Town of Hayward, and Bass Lake. I think it represents something like 70%. And Mr. Carrianen questioned the need for a bridge and pier replacement, which they had on their repairs. Ms. Nucky reported her summary for Winter Library. She thanked the county for the monetary support. She gave an update on the completion of their strategic planning and discussed the upcoming programs and fundraisers. For the Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau report, Ms. Simons reported the marketing report of 25 year in review, which showed growth in both social media and website traffic. Mr. Duffy inquired how long the closing of Flat Creek has impacted the area. There really was no answer on that. That'll open when it opens. And I inquired about the room tax again, because there's some towns that aren't paying it. And although that's not a county program, we have learned, like Vilas County is a great example. They spend much more in tourism and they make more. So I think there's something there to that. For the Sawyer County LCO Economic Development Corporation report, Mr. Lamaro gave an update on the downtown businesses. He reported on the upcoming financial literacy class, the submission of the Thrive Grant, and the Talent Recruitment Grant Program. That is a program where the state would give money to businesses to recruit outside the county talent. There was no updates on the forestry revitalization bill, and I asked how the TRG works monetarily, if there were any deadlines in regards to the forestry, and if there were any deadlines in the forestry revitalization program, which we're unaware there's any deadlines for that. And Mr. Duffy inquired about the Titus building being sold, and we did not know the status of that. Trail reports, Ms. Hessel read a report from the Sawyer County Snowmobile Alliance on motorized trails. The report included updates on the current trail conditions, local business updates, upcoming fundraisers, and the placement of trail counters. And Mr. Duffy reported the non-motorized trails. There are over 10,000 skiers registered for the upcoming Berkey. There are 2 or 3 groomers operating on the trails, and there will be a Sealy Hills Classic held. I guess that was last weekend, correct? And that ends my report.
Thank you. Number 16, County Administrator Report. The Administrative Committee, when they met, we received a report from our county clerk. The departments are working on the end of the year report for dog license, marriage license, preparing 1099s. The candidates for the April election are being determined for the county, towns, and school districts. There will not be a February primary this year. I'm sure every town clerk is applauding hooray. The resolution for supervisor district boundaries was approved. The Veteran Service Office, Mr. Elliott gives a very good report. He tells how many phone calls and letters he receives and counseling, and he does an absolutely wonderful job. Veteran Tribute Update, we were waiting for the results of the soil bores, and Mr. Colson reported a written report in IT. We talked about YouTubing our county board meetings and decided to leave it like it is presently, and certainly look at it anytime we need to. That concludes my report from Mr. Markram.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under personnel, we have a staff wellness in-service day on Monday, this upcoming Monday. I'm looking forward to that. In the morning, we're gonna have breakout sessions wrapped around mental, emotional, physical, and financial health. And staff are able to choose whatever they want out of, I think I've got 7 different options each time period, which I think is great. Then in the afternoon, we've got a kind of a keynote speaker to give us some instruction and a little bit of an inspirational message as well. And then after that, we have some all-staff training. So I'm really looking forward to that day, and I think it's gonna be good. It's always good to get everybody together. You might think that we see each other all the time. We don't. We're in our own areas and just don't get out and see each other in the different departments. Under economic development, on Tuesday, met with Uniquely Wisconsin, Sawyer County LCO, Economic Development, and Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau regarding some promotional material opportunities, and there'll be more to come on that later. Under finance, we're working on closing out the 2025 year fiscally. Already starting to work on 2025 audit.
Recording in progress.
We just received our audit, our 2024 audit a couple months ago, so it's just crazy how that cycle never ends. We'll get stuff mostly closed out by the end of March. We get a lot of invoices that come in over, past the year end. We even receive some revenues too. Then we'll do some closing entries and some transfers to other funds. So that all takes a little bit of time. Contracts for service, the 5 I've issued have all been received back. I did issue contracts to the 2 libraries, Weiss and Winter. We're going back and forth on whether we can even do that or not. It is a statutory, it's laid out how they're paid. We do give them more than the statutory requirement, but it's unclear on that. So I'm working on that, and I'll get back to you on that later. Connections, on Wednesday, I believe, I met with Christy Mackey from the Berkey just to talk about that. Again, it's hard to believe that's coming up, but it is about a month away now, so that'll come sooner than we know. Work is still underway on the radio network, and we are still waiting on whether we can lease space from LCO on the WOGB tower. That ends my report. Unless there are any questions?
I have one, Mr. Margaret.
Sure.
On this public safety radio network, we're still waiting for LCO to give us the okay to put use their tower. Is this gonna put us behind on anything while we're waiting for them to do that?
It hasn't at this point. If
Okay.
it goes into spring too much, it could be a little bit different. Because part of it is those towers in kind of the central part, they're allowing us to have redundancy, where if one goes down, it can go backwards. We can't do that everywhere because some are more satellites, but for that, the kind of the center, we'd have redundancy. So it could hinder that down the road.
Cause I know we've been waiting for a long time, and I understand now that there's a new tribal governing board out there. But it was my understanding that we were gonna be okay to use that tower. So I'm just wondering where this is at, and I'm hoping it don't lag behind, where it puts us behind on this, getting these radio towers out there for our EMS and our sheriff's department.
Good questions, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
is that gonna be something that's on our agenda for our ad hoc committee?
it was mentioned, yes.
All right, thank you, sir.
You wanna go to the CJC report?
Yeah, moving on to CJCC, we did have a quorum Wednesday. First time
Sounds
in,
good.
we did miss 2 meetings, and we had to make some changes, but we needed a quorum to make those changes. So we were able to do some things with the membership that will hopefully avoid not having a quorum in the future. A few things that happened. Judge Isom did resign from the committee chair, so we were able to approve that. Ms. Lyons was named the chair, and Judge Smith was named the vice chair. So those changes were made. Some changes were made in public defender representative. That was one that we hadn't, since I've been here, it hadn't been filled, but again, we had to get somebody and then had to have it approved. We also approved a new community representative. One wished to no longer be on it, so we switched there. We also allowed for the judges to send a designee. The two judges, the LCO one did not request that, but the two Sawyer County ones did. And then another highlight was there are 18 students in the youth justice program who still have a perfect attendance for the school year. So that's pretty remarkable from where we've come from in the past. Any questions on CJCC? All right, then we will move into strategic plan. You have in front of you two documents which I had emailed out to you earlier. This, like the budget, is something I wanted to present to the board prior to making it public. That's why it's not attached in the agenda, the published agenda. Hopefully you've had a chance to read through it some. I'll kind of hit some highlights here. I would leave it up to the board after tonight if you wish it to be made public or if you wish to wait until it's approved to make it public. My plan was to present it tonight, let you chew on it, ask questions, make revisions, and then come back next month to make any of those changes and approve it. So I'll take you through the highlights here. This is probably a 3 to 5 year plan. Again, that's something we can leave for discussion. Generally, a strategic plan is 3 to 5 years. Could pick 4 years right in the middle. We will use this as our guide work for the future, for planning, for framework, for policy development, for how we allocate resources. This should be the document that we look at. It should be a living document. So if we need to make changes down the road or a revamp in 4 or 5 years, we do that. But it should direct how we do things around here. It should direct what we look at, what we highlight, what we gauge our success on. So as you know, in August, I came to each committee meeting with the opportunity for each Board of Supervisors member on each committee to give their top 3 areas of priority, areas of focus for each department that fell within the jurisdiction of that committee. So we did that work. Then I compiled that along with extension. We worked on compiling that, brought that to the full board in September. The full board then each picked 3 of their top items on their sticky board, and that gave us 5 top items to look at. And those were number 1, budget and finance, number 2, operational efficiency and innovation, number 3, affordable/workforce housing, number 4, workforce retention, compensation, culture, and staff development, and number 5, mental health. So then what I did from there is I took these 5 areas of focus, cascaded them out in a department head meeting in October for the department heads to look at those 5, pick at least 2 areas to make 2 goals within those areas. So if you look at the next few pages here, the next page is kind of a graph that shows the process we did. And if you look at the top, there's a mission statement. We'll talk about that later. Vision statement we'll talk about. Then your top 5 areas of focus as voted on by the board. And then I've got county goals under that. And then what I did under each of those 5 areas is I took all of the feedback from what you said from those initial committee meetings in August, and I looked for themes, and I took 2 themes that were mentioned the most often in each of those 5 areas. So then that is kind of what I took to the department heads to work from there. So then you look at the next page, this is what a department head would fill out. It's again got that 5 areas, but then it's got department goals instead of county goals. And then I left 3 blanks in each one of those 5 areas of focus for them to fill out. So they did that work. And then the final page for each department, for each goal, then they would fill out this final page. So that includes then their goal, one of the 4 or so goals that they picked. Then they would pick 3 strategies or 2 or 3, and then the measurement that they would use. So I wanted them to look at SMART goals that, was something that was attainable, that was measurable, and had a timetable, so that we know when we meet the goal. Instructions I gave them, and everybody did a really good job on that. So then that is kind of a high-level synopsis of it and how we got to where we are. Then this next thing is the document itself. And again, this should be about a 3 to 5 year plan. Again, this is we want Sawyer County to be strong, to be responsible, and to have good stewardship of our funds, the taxpayer money that we receive. We want efficient operations. So all that has rolled into this document. So then here's where we come into the mission statement. And I always figure it's easier to start with something and revise it than to start with nothing and try to make something up. So what I did is I wrote mission and vision statements based on the work of the board at the August committee meetings and the September board meeting. So for mission statements are generally quick hitters that you can remember or write on a t-shirt, something that you don't want a big long write-up. So I just wrote down responsible stewardship, operational excellence, and community and workforce well-being. So those are kind of the 3 themes that I got out of all the work that happened in those 2 months. The vision statement then, you can expound on to give a little more detail. Not something you would memorize, but it should explain the mission statement. So what I wrote for that is Sawyer County envisions a financially sound, innovative, and compassionate community where residents and employees alike can prosper. Through responsible stewardship, collaboration, and a commitment to continuous improvement, we aim to be a model of effective local government, empowering a healthy, supported workforce and enhancing the quality of life for every individual we serve. So again, I just wrote that based on the feedback that I had received from you all in August and September. Any questions so far? So then moving on, the process, I guess I kind of talked about. I really won't go through that again. The strategies or priorities I already talked about too. It's those 5 areas of focus. So then getting into the framework, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll go through finance just as an example of what this shows. So again, I asked people to pick 2 of the 5 priorities to take a deeper dive into. So the first priority here is budget and finance. Out of the 15 votes that received 9, so it was very strong board support for this one. It came in number 1. So for an objective, I've got to ensure responsible, sustainable, transparent financial management that supports county services today and in the future. And if any of you have ever heard me at finance or even at the board meeting, I always say, any decisions we make, I'm trying to look 5 years down the road to see if it's sustainable. So that's kind of speaking to that. The county goals are repeating those 2 that we saw in the graph I showed you earlier. Responsible and sustainable spending and balanced budgeting and ongoing financial monitoring. So then from those 2 main county goals, I looked at key areas of focus, which are more of an application of those goals. So long-term financial planning and forecasting, budget transparency and accountability, effective use of levy, grants, and shared revenue, and monitoring and controlling operational costs. So then going further down from those key areas of focus, I've got objectives may include, not that they will, and not that this is all inclusive, but just some examples. And the objectives would be, how do we get to the goals that we're setting? And for that, I've got strengthening multi-year financial planning and forecasting, improving budget transparency and clarity, evaluating program costs and outcomes, pursuing grants and alternative funding sources, and maintaining adequate fund balance and reserves. And then from there, kind of expounding on that graph I showed you earlier, I've got key measurements may include, again, not all inclusive, but things we could look at. And this would be how to measure our success, balance budgets, audit outcomes, fund balance trends, and cost savings or cost avoidance initiatives. So then, I won't go through all of the lines on the rest, but the second highest priority was operational efficiency and innovation. That received 7 votes out of 15 members. And then you can see kind of the 4 areas that I looked at there. The next one is affordable/workforce housing. That also received 7 votes. This one it's vital to our community. It's one that the county doesn't have a lot of direct impact or ability to have impact on. Zoning, we can have some impact and we can support other things, but like we can't directly do a lot for this. So that's gonna be a tough one to hit. Not a lot of departments can even have an impact here, but we're doing our best to get as many there as we can. Priority 4 is workforce retention, compensation, culture, staff development. That received 5 votes out of the 15 board members. And Monday is actually speaking to that. That's one of the things we try to do is about quarterly, we try to have something, a potluck or something where we're inviting everybody to get together at least during the lunch period. Also working on some training and just the well-being initiatives we're looking at. Hopefully that improves culture and retention and that kind of thing. And then the final priority is mental health. That received 5 votes as well. So it's, again, it was important. The rest of them, I think the next highest one was 3. So these did come through clear as the highest vote getters. So I went through a lot of information in a quick time frame there. Any questions or clarification anybody wants?
I do, Mr. Margaret.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, John. As these department heads review this and come up with their strategic goals and their planning, is the committee of jurisdiction going to get a chance to discuss it or hear what they're discussing?
We'll report out, yeah.
Yeah.
The department heads do report to me, but we will, and I would encourage department heads to make what they're focused on part of their messaging at the committee level so that we're focusing everything on this. Remember when I said this document should get everybody in line and move in the same direction? Part of that is reporting it out at committee level so that we're all focusing on the same thing and the same goals.
Mike, I just want to say, fantastic job, excuse me. And I don't think we've ever had something like this given to us in the past. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
This is the fun stuff for me to work on, actually.
Mr. Regenheimer. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Markman. Number 17, Board Appointment Committee updates. Mr. Buckles.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. January 8th, we interviewed 3 possible transit managers to run Nemogahgan Transit. We interviewed them, but we did not choose one at that time. We reposted it, and we're gonna be interviewing again here. I'm not sure when, but we have a special Nemogahgan Transit Board meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And we have to put a new interim manager in because Carrie was done as of the 8th of January. So we have to have somebody, an interim in there for now to make all the decisions until we can get somebody appointed and put in there.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Number 18, correspondence reports, conferences, meetings. Yes.
I was just going to say, with the Berkey coming up, as we indicated, they are looking for volunteers. And you don't have to be outside, you can be inside. But if you contact the Berkey office if you're interested in volunteering.
Thank you. Mr. Duffy, is that you? Number 19, future agenda items. Because in the month like January, February, March, some of the board meetings, we don't have a lot on. So next month, we tentatively asked Mr. Bill Johnson if he would come speak about what's going on at Johnson Timber and give us an update. I noticed last week there was a nice article in the newspaper regarding that. And then also in the month of March, tentatively, we've asked Mr. John Will to come and talk about the technical college. So if anybody else has anything, ideas, certainly share with us, please. Anybody have anything else?
Chairman, what about adding this, this new ad hoc committee to the agenda somewhere so we can hear their progress every month? And
Yeah.
it seems like there's a lot of issues there that we got to resolve.
Presently, the ad hoc committee will report to the Public Works, and it certainly can come to the full board. Presently, LCO has gave us the name of the 3 people that they're gonna have represent, but we have not got a date. So we're waiting for a date. Okay?
The land and water management plan will be coming back to the full board too at some point next month.
Thank you kindly. Meeting adjourned. Drive safe out there.